Hello and welcome to episode 278 of the Epic Film Challenge to 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. The previous episode we talked about Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is kind of a classic comedy, British comedy from the 70s. And now we're going to talk about, I would say, maybe considered to be a more modern classic comedy from the 2010s. And a film that I was quite frankly staggered to see was in the book. Now, it is worth noting that I'm still working from the 2012 edition of the book, which only goes up to 2011. So it was like they were just adding in all the new 2011 movies. I highly doubt this is still in the book. In fact, I think I know for a fact that it isn't. Do you want to put your phone on silent because it keeps going off? And we'll just leave this in for free.
It keeps going off.
Well, it's twice. Twice is, once you get to, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We don't get to.
Yeah.
So, Bridesmaids from 2011, directed by Paul Feig? I don't know. So, Bridesmaids, we saw this in the cinema when it came out. And I loved it. I thought it was like a really funny film. Like, it helped with the room. I don't really remember the experience, but I remember like a lot of laughs.
Was I there?
Yeah, of course, we went together. It was when you were living here the first time. Oh. We had the cinema cards. We were going all the time in 2011, and it came out that year.
I don't remember that we went to the cinema together to watch it, and I don't remember the experience, but...
No, I don't really remember the experience as such, but I remember, like, vaguely, like, in some of the more shocking moments of the film, the gross-out humor. I remember, like, the people reacting, because it felt like, there was a lot of, crowd participation in that, and the more gross things that happen in the film you don't particularly associate with female-led comedies.
Which makes it more funny, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of like them going, okay, let's do what the guys always do, and see,
And it works. It's, to me, it is a female-focused comedy, but with some of them, especially Melissa McCarthy, she always cracks me up because she's not scared to look ugly being funny. Like she'll just make the faces and everything and do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. And she will just go all out, which I love.
Do you know what I noticed with Melissa McCarthy? This is the first time I saw her, and I almost assumed this was like her breakout role. I know she was on that show you watched, was it?
Gilmore Girls. But she was not like that at all. No. She was serious in Gilmore Girls.
But it does feel like it was her breakout role in big movies, because after that, I mean, she really
exploded.
Did so many comedy movies in the last decade.
Yeah.
And but watching it now is interesting because in most comedies now, she has her hair done nice and she's got a little makeup on. In this one, is like minimal makeup, her hair's kind of greasy, like she really, it's like
very like shaggy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Australian girl as well,
Rose Byrne, yes.
She came more out, didn't she, after this?
I think so.
Pitch Perfect, of course, as well, but she's still in it slightly.
I think the guy who runs Marvel is Kevin Feige, and the director of this is Paul Feig. I didn't realize that Kristen Wiig actually wrote the film or co-wrote the film. So I've forgotten the character name. So Kristen Wiig plays Annie, who is going through a bit of a not midlife crisis, but she's she's had this business that went badly and a breakup and everything, and her best friend is getting married, Lillian, played by Maya Rudolph, and so she's going to be the maid of honor and sort the wedding out and everything. But then there's a new friend that has come onto the scene, played by Rose Byrne, who is one of Lillian's husband's kind of rich friends, I guess. She's kind of upper class, and so she has that kind of the more posh touch to things and kind of arranging things. And so the bridesmaids and everything they do together kind of gets taken over by Rose Byrne's character, as opposed to the best friend, Annie, played by Kristen Wiig. And so it's really about that rivalry between...
The jealousy
of,
Which reminds you of school when your best friend got a new friend and slowly that new friend is trying to make her best friend. Yeah. And then it makes you crazy.
Yeah. It's like, hey, motherfucker, I've known this, we've been best friends since we were kids, and you've come in for like the past year and now you're trying to... So, yeah, it's basically that. And then we have this kind of, I will say, watching it again, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as before in the cinema. And I do think that it's a bit long. I didn't feel it, but the kind of side plot with the love interest, Chris O'Dowd, the Irish cop. What do you feel about that? It didn't quite. I don't know. It didn't have that extra punch for me.
It didn't.
It was
feel
fine.
As necessary.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I guess we need it because the movie was more about Annie than anyone else.
Yeah.
So we needed to know more about her life as well.
Yeah.
And see how she would, I don't know. What does she do when she's not with her friend? What's her name?
Yeah.
You know, so we need to have a side story so that she's not just plodding around on her own.
I need to check the cat. Is it John Hamm? So I think it's John Hamm who plays this kind of guy that Annie is frequently sleeping with. And I think you commented that
Frequently is once.
don't they meet up a couple of times?
Oh, the funny guy. Right, her. Okay. I thought you were talking about the Irish guy.
No. So at the beginning of the film, she's having sex with this guy, and then they're kind of like friends with benefits, and you can
He's
tell.
a douche.
Yeah, he just uses her for sex.
Yeah, doesn't
But-
want her to spend the night.
But you commented that it was about how the sex scene was actually funny, which is very
'cause
rare.
usually
Right.
it's so cringe-worthy and awkward and stuff like that. But it's one of the few times where there's a sex scene in the movie and I can actually genuinely laugh at it because there's nothing hot about it at all. So you're not sat there going like,
Right.
you know, you're just like, oh God, it's so stupid.
Wow.
And they play it out so well. And when we watch the outtakes and stuff
Yeah.
like that, they did a whole lot more than that. And it was equally funny. Like, of course, I'm glad they didn't put all of it in because it would have been too much. But they obviously had a really, 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 really great chemistry. They weren't nervous around each other. They were just messing around like they were best friends or something. And it's like, oh, we're not doing it. We're just pretending to. And it actually made it funny. And I never liked those kind of scenes, but that was actually funny.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, so the romance with him, it didn't feel as I don't know.
Romantic.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It just it wasn't as good as the rest of the film. I think for me, it's like borderline the funniest scene and also the hardest scene to watch is that I don't know one of the events where they're celebrating the wedding and a wedding shower or something like that, and Rose Byrne gets up to kind of give a nice speech. I know Annie does it. Annie does it first. She gives like a really touching speech, and then Rose Byrne has to get back up again with a microphone, and she has to top it. And then it's okay. Well, goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Oh, can I just take just one more thing? And they just keep trading, and they keep trying to make like the most emotional and touching.
Yeah.
And it just is so awkward in the way they. Didn't she try singing at one point?
They started,
Or
yeah,
start
one of them
speaking
started
Spanish.
singing,
Like it just.
and then the other one came in and they sang both together. That was after them speaking Spanish or French or whatever.
Yeah, it's.
And and when they finished singing, they're trying to top each other off. Then the crowd started clapping. It was almost like they were clapping to make them stop, and they finally did stop. But
Yeah.
again, even though that was repetitive and it's really awkward to watch because it's supposed to make you awkward. It's not like in Monty Python where they're like, okay, done now, you're finished. Because the next bit was so creative and so different. They didn't keep repeating themselves, even though the situation was repeated.
Right.
But I'm glad they stopped when they did as well. If they kept going even longer, it would be like, okay, how long have we been doing this for then? But it's like the right amount of awkwardness.
Yeah. And then there's, I mean, we have to mention the
best scene.
I don't know if it's the best scene, but it's a
the
scene. It's
best
certainly a scene that exists.
Because it's the most extreme scene, which is the food poisoning scene when they're trying on the bridesmaids' dresses and the wedding dress.
Yeah.
And you know, when you have food poisoning, sometimes it doesn't just come out that way. It comes out the other way as well. And this is where you see Melissa McCarthy. She's so nasty in it. She takes a shit in the sink. And one is throwing up in the toilet. And then another one throws up on her. And of course, Annie is the one who brought them to that place where they got the food poisoning. And she's just trying not to be sick, and she's just
that was funny to me, where she's just like sweat is streaming off it. She's like, I'm fine. That's it. No, I'm
fine.
I'm cool.
Yeah, no, I'm
That was
hungry
funny.
actually.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll have some almonds or something. And she's like, because the bitch in the movie, she didn't eat any of that meat. And then of course the bride herself is wearing the bride's dress. It's so funny. Everyone is, of course, busy in the toilet, so she's going to walk across the street to the next toilet, but she doesn't make it, so she
Just
sits
squats
down
in the road.
in the street and has a shit. Of course, you don't see the shit, but still,
No.
it's really, really nasty. But it's so funny because you're not supposed to be. It's like this whole thing, like, oh no, women they don't poo or fart or something like that. You know, they poop rainbows and they fart unicorn sprinkles or whatever. I don't know. So it's just so funny to see something that real, because
Mm-hmm.
if you get it, you get it. And what are you going to do? You can't hold it in.
And it's strange because like the film's like 10 years old at this point, if you can fucking believe that. Like it's crazy
And
to
it
think that
still holds up really well, I think,
I-
because it's still today's humor, isn't it?
I didn't enjoy it as much, I have to say.
Maybe because when you were in the cinema, you had the energy of
Definitely,
young people.
absolutely, that really
That
helps in
does make a
certain comedies.
difference.
Some comedies, I mean, again, it's very subjective with humor. But like you say, it's been 10 years. Humor hasn't changed that much in modern movies when it comes to
No.
American stuff. But I do think that I don't remember at least anyone really saying anything at the time when it came out. But I think if Bridesmaids came out now, you'd probably get the old, oh, look at this social justice warrior movie, oh, look at this political agenda, all women. Like, oh, they're trying to do the guy. Like, I just feel like there would have been a fuss kicked up. Whereas I don't feel like there was 10 years ago, because there doesn't need to be, you know? It's just, it was nice to see a flip on it.
Because no one's happy with anything.
Yeah,
nowadays.
but it was nice to see a flip on it, because that's the kind of comedies that you see male stars doing all the time, where they're
Yeah.
shitting and they're puking, and it's all like this gross kind of, it's
Like
the
the
sexual
Hangover.
humor.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a female version of the Hangover without it being like the Hangover.
And since Bridesmaids, many more of those were made. They made lots more female-centric kind of mainstream, comedy films, and so that kind of, I think, opened, because it was very successful when it came out. So it kind of, I guess, opened up the floodgates of like, oh, we can actually make money doing this, and so it.
None
you
of
know.
them have caught my interest the same way, but it might
No.
be because this is a bigger cast.
Yeah, the cast is. I mean, is it Kirsten or Kristen? I don't know. Kristen.
I don't
Kristen. Kay Wig.
Kristen, yeah, Kristen.
Kristen Wiig. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed to hear the surname.
She's really great. Like, I've seen her in like dramatic stuff, and she's really good, and like comedy wise, she's really funny. So that really helps.
And the chemistry between them seems to be
there's just the
good
chemistry.
too.
There's a lot of yeah.
Like the two main characters seem like they're actually friends in real
Yeah,
life.
the chemistry between the two friends, I will say, is really good. Now, is it a film you should see before you die? That is the question.
I think so. If you like comedies, definitely. If you're my mom, maybe not, because it might just be too much. But I can't remember if I shown this movie to them, to be honest, because I showed them a few
Yeah.
awkward movies last year. I think that just opened up a whole new door. But I just showed them Horrible Bosses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Similar kind of
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's not like a necessary movie to see before you die.
No, I don't think so.
But because to me, it's just kind of starting a new thing with humor when it comes to women. I think it's a good movie too. Yeah, kind of, I guess.
No, I agree.
But it's not like a classic like The Godfather and all of that stuff. But for me,
We have to judge it in the realm of comedies, I think.
yeah. But the next one we're going to talk about, that's not all. It's not like, oh, you got to see
But,
it.
you know-
but it might come down as a classic in a couple of years.
I don't know. I mean, it's been 10 years,
Decades.
I waited 10 years before seeing it again. I didn't really feel the urge or the pull to watch it again after 10 years. Obviously, I got the Blu-ray a few years ago. I don't know. It's tricky because as a comedy, it's supposed to make you laugh. That should be like one of the main objectives. I don't feel like the story is as good, especially with the romance. It just didn't seem to land that way. It was fine. It just wasn't particularly notable. But as a comedy, it made me laugh more than Monty Python. That's for sure. So do I give it points for that? I don't know. So I don't love the film, but as a comedy, I mean, it's better than a lot of comedies. I'll say that.
I think I love the film because it's a movie I can watch again and again.
Well, because you've seen it many more times, well, at least a few more times than I have.
I've probably seen it probably altogether 5 times now. At least.
Okay. So it's a film you can throw on and enjoy, and not.
But I think maybe because it is as long as it is, and it's not really a movie I would put on alone. It's a movie that I kind of watch with someone or show to someone if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's
so maybe like every 3-year kind of movie.
Yeah.
I always have a year thing for them. Monty Python is like done.
Yeah, done. Finished.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, you're saying kind of yes,
Dirty
right?
Dancing is like a once a year every kind of movie. You Got Mail.
Yeah.
This one, yeah. No, I generally really, really, really like the movie. It's funny, it's awkward, it's cringeworthy, it's just funny overall.
It's one of those things where once I do the review, I look back at it a lot more favorably. After we watched it, I thought, yeah, that's a no. It's good, I enjoy it, but just not overall. Now that we're talking about it and we're just like laughing, just thinking about the scenes, yeah, I'll say it's a yes. I mean, considering some of the other dreck that has been in the book that I've seen so far.
But if you're sensitive about,
Well, it's all dependent. It's all
those
subjective. It's also,
things,
yeah, if you don't
then
like
of
gross
course-
out humor, I mean, I don't love it, but I can enjoy it if it's like the shock value is done right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a thing where you just saw the shit spraying out of their asses, then that's too much to me. But it's more in the implication of it, and seeing Melissa McCarthy sat on the sink with her face beet red, kind of like,
and saying, "Don't look at me."
and you see it in the Blu-ray, like all the alternate lines in some of those scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I
That was actually funny too, seeing her, like the bloopers, seeing that she can't keep a straight face when she's saying the things she does. Because I thought she was just a kind of like poker face. She can do all the scenes without any takes.
yeah.
And it actually made me like her even more, seeing that she just can't. She can't do it.
I'll tell you one thing that cracked me up that I'd completely forgotten about. It's like a throwaway line is when the blonde woman is talking about how awful it is to have boys as sons. And she's like, I had to take a sheet and then it cracked in half or something. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I did not remember that.
yeah.
I definitely remembered the kind of post-credit scene with Melissa McCarthy and a very large sandwich. Which is just like,
You put the food down for
oh boy. Yeah, I was eating something. I'm just like, that's going back on the
Yeah.
table for now. And I remember being shocked in the cinema about that and going, okay,
that. Yeah, it's
should we
over
get
the top.
should we get going?
When you think it's done, they kind of save some of the worst stuff for
Yeah,
last.
and I think we watched like the extended version, which I think amounts to a few minutes and probably just extends moments where they're improvising.
Yeah, there were some scenes, especially with a kid, that I feel like I hadn't
Yeah,
seen.
there was a kid and a blind date and everything. Anyway, bridesmaids. I guess we're both saying yes, but I don't think it's great, but it's very enjoyable and yeah, it's as far as like modern comedies go, I would go back to it more than other ones, I guess.
Maybe I like it better because I am a woman.
Well, yeah, I mean that surely should be part of it as well.
I don't know.
No,
I'm just thinking maybe.
I
Maybe
would
I just
imagine it has some
appreciate that
part to
some
play.
women can be gross as well,
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be like, perfect, and oh, we look so great, and we're so pretty and shit.
Well, that's where some of the humor comes from because Rose Byrne's character is like that,
Yeah.
So that they play off each other well in that sense,
Yeah,
and that's kind of
no,
where
I
a
do
lot
like
of
that.
the humor comes
you have
from.
a little bit of contrast.
Yeah. And then you have the girl who's in the office, and she's got more of a prude, and so she's like, so there's nicely drawn characters, and they all
She's
play.
still awkward in it though, so
Yeah,
I kind of feel like it is her from The Office
Okay.
in it, because she still has like that weird like personality. But
Yeah.
no, it's a funny movie.
Yeah, so this is a little bit like A Fish Called Wanda. It's a comedy film I watched and enjoyed, but didn't think it was a yes. And then we talked about it, and then I kind of changed my mind. So yeah, I'll say yes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.